Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a topic called non-finite verbs. And we are discussing this topic because there was a request from one of the subscribers asking for this non-finite verbs. Here is her request. Like, ma'am, for SEM 2, we need grammar videos like tenses, auxiliary verbs, and finite, non-finite verbs. Please make videos on these topics. Last SEM, your videos were very helpful. Thank you very much, Beauty Queen. Now, here is your video on non-finite verbs. So, you all know that verbs are action verbs. They denote a kind of action. Whenever we do action, we use verbs to denote that. And basically, there are three types of verbs, like finite, auxiliary, and non-finite verbs. Finite verbs are the main verbs. Like main verbs change their forms depending on tense. Like you all know the tenses, the present tense, past tense, future tense, and their continuous forms. There are six simple tenses and six perfect tenses. So these main verbs are always affected by the 12 tenses. And then person, like first person, second person, and third person. I, you, he, she, it, and they. They are the first, second, and third person. And singular number and plural, like I and we, you and you, she and he, they are the plural form. So these main verbs are the action verbs which are always affected by the tenses. Now coming to the auxiliary verbs, they are the helping verbs. Mainly there are two forms, the be forms and the have forms. Like be forms are am, is, are, was, were, been, like that. So they are all the helping verbs. They denote the actual time of the action which is taking place. They help the main verb to denote the time of the action which was taking place. So these are the helping verbs. Now coming to the non-finite verbs, this is what we are going to discuss today. Non-finite verbs are the not main verbs. They are not the main verbs. They are the verbs which do some other job. Okay, we will learn about those things. But only thing you have to remember is they are not affected by the tense or person or the number. This is the key word you have to remember when you talk about the non-finite verbs. So non-finite verbs are of three types, the infinitives, the gerunds, and the participles. And I already told you that non-finite verbs are not affected by the tense or the subject or the number of the subject. Okay, first person and the person also, first person, second person. They are not affected. Actually, they look like verbs, but they do not do the job of the verb. They do not denote any kind of action. Okay, so the first one is infinitives. Infinitives are the to plus verb. That is called as a infinitive non-finite verb. For example, to exercise is good for the body. To plus verb. I like to travel. Here to plus verb. I do not have time to enjoy swimming. So here it is to plus enjoy. So whenever a verb combines with the word to, then it becomes an infinitive verb and it is not affected by the tense or other forms. Now coming to the second ones, second type of non-finite, they are called as the gerunds. The other word for gerunds is verbal noun. That means the verbs here, they do the job of a noun. Instead of acting like verbs denoting actions, they do not denote the action, but they do the job of a noun. Like in the class also, some of the students, they do not mind their own business. So the teachers reprimand them, asking them to mind your own business. Don't bother about others. But here you come across these verbs doing the job of a noun, and they are called as the gerunds. If you look at the example, exercising is good for the body. So if you put a question, what is good for the body? The answer is exercising. So whenever you get an answer for the question what, that means it is a noun or the subject of the sentence. So exercising looks like a verb, but here it is not looking like, it is not doing the job of a verb. It is acting like a noun or a subject. Then what is the main verb here? The finite verb is. This is the main verb here. This is affected by the tense and the number and the singular plural and the person, first person, second person. Everything is affected here. This is the main verb. But here, this is only the non-finite verb. And the next example, traveling is my hobby. What is your hobby? Traveling. So when you get an answer for the question what, that is the noun or the subject form. Okay, so next example, I love swimming. What do you like? I love, what do you love? I love swimming. So whenever you're getting an answer for the question what, whichever word it is the subject or the noun of the sentence. So here you've come across these gerunds or the verbal nouns. Okay, let's move on to the third type of non-finite. So here if you take the participles, the third type of non-finite verbs are called participles because they are the verbal adjectives. Here the verbs are doing the job of an adjective. So always you know the adjectives. They are the describing words which describe the nouns. So they always answer the question how. How is she? How is it? And all. So I met a boy with an exercised body. That means here the body is described. How is the body? It is an exercised body or well chiseled, well maintained body. For the sake of grammatical convenience, I have taken this word exercised here because here if you look, I have taken the word exercise, 2 plus exercise. Exercising is good for the body. In the same way I have taken as exercised body. Logically it may not sound that relevant, but grammatically this is correct. So next example, if you take Ladakh is the most traveled place. How is the place? Most traveled. So traveled here is describing the place. It is not doing the job of a verb. So here that is why it is called as a non-finite verb, and it is the other name is participle, and participles are always verbal adjectives. Swimming is the most enjoyable hobby or my most enjoyed hobby. Anyway, you can tell. So here the word enjoyed is doing the job of an adjective. It is describing the hobby. How is the hobby? The most enjoyed hobby or most enjoyable hobby. So grammatically if you take, this is how the verbs are doing the job of others. Like here it is doing the job of a noun. Here it is doing the job of an adjective. So these are the three types of non-finites: infinitives, gerunds, and participles. Okay, infinitives are 2 plus verbs, gerunds are verbal nouns, participles are verbal adjectives. So let us have some examples here. So non-finite verbs and the examples. First we will go to the infinitives examples. For example, first one, he gave me a pen to write with. So to write is an infinitive. It was a sight to see. So it was an enjoyable sight. And next one, I want to buy some vegetables. To buy. So these are all 2 plus verbs which are called as infinitive verbs. And gerunds. Smoking is injurious to health. What is injurious? Smoking is injurious. Walking every day is good for everyone. What is good? Walking is good. Spending time on social media has become an addiction to everyone. These days it has become an addiction. So what has become an addiction? Spending time on social media. So this is a gerund. So here all the verbs are doing the different jobs. Now coming to the participles. Barking dogs do not bite. How are the dogs? The barking dogs. The crying child was lost in the crowd. How is the child? Crying. So the child is described by the verb crying. Dogs are described by the verb, means the word looking like a verb. It's not a verb. It looks like a verb, ing form. Barking dogs do not bite. Crying child was lost in the crowd. The Broken Arrow was my favorite movie. So how is the arrow? Broken. En form or ed form or ing forms. Ing forms are called present participles and en form or ed forms are called as the past participles. That is a simple thing you can remember. But these are the three different types of non-finite verbs. Hope you all understood and you all got a little glimpse of what non-finite verbs are. So now let us try some of the textual exercises here. So in this exercise, they want you to underline the non-finite verbs, if any, in each of the sentences below. Also identify the finite verbs in each sentence. So you have to identify both the finite as well as the non-finite verbs in each sentences. So let us try. I'll explain to you. If you want to try on your own, before my explanation, you try it and then you can cross-verify your answers. The first one, he gave me a pen to write with. So what is the non-finite here? To write is the non-finite, to plus verb. You remember the infinitives. And then the main verb is gave. So this gave will be affected with tense, persons and the number, singular, plural, or the subject, first person, second person and all, it will be affected. That's why it is the main verb. To write is the non-finite which will not be affected with the main verb. Then the second one, it was a sight to see. So what is the non-finite over there? To see is the non-finite, and then the main verb is was. Then the third sentence, I want to buy some vegetables. So what is the non-finite there? To plus verb, to buy is the non-finite, and then the main verb is want. Then you have the fourth sentence, barking dogs do not bite. This is the sentence, and let us see if any. Yes, barking is the non-finite verb over there because it is describing the noun dogs. How are the dogs? They are the barking dogs. So it is a participle. If you remember the third type of non-finite, yes, and the main verb is do not. It's a negative verb. Fifth sentence, she was wearing a designer outfit. Do you find a non-finite over there? Any verb resembling or any word resembling a verb? I don't think so. So the main verb is she was wearing. That is the main verb. Sixth one, I had my car polished. So is there a non-finite? Yes, there is a non-finite because polished is describing the noun car, and the main verb is I had. This is the main verb or the finite verb. Seventh one, finding the door open, my mother went inside. So what is the non-finite? Finding the door open. So this is again a um, it's a it's a gerund. So finding the door open is the subject of the sentence. Then the mother went inside, and the main verb is went. Eighth sentence, Nitya is doing her homework at the moment. What is Nitya doing? She is doing her homework at the moment. So what is the verb? Main verb is doing. There isn't any non-finite verb over there. Then the ninth sentence, the proposal has been examined today. So is there a non-finite? No, there is only a main verb here. That is the proposal has been examined is the main verb. Vardhan has finished his exams. Do you find a non-finite here? No, I don't think so. So only the main verb, that is Vardhan has finished his exams. So this is how you are going to differentiate between main verbs and the non-finite verbs. So main verbs are affected with the tense. Just remember that. And the non-finite verbs will not be affected with the tense. Thanks for watching, and if you are really like this video, if you made sense out of this video, please like, share and subscribe. And in the next video, it will be about finite verbs, the main verbs and the tenses. Bye bye. Take care now all of you. See you in the next video.